Welcome to Afterlife Cafe TV, connecting hearts, healing souls, and bridging worlds. I'm your host, Helen Peacock, and this is your sacred grounds, a warm, welcoming space where you're invited to take a seat, exhale, and just be. Each week, we will gather cafe style for heartfelt conversations, some mediumship, and maybe some intuitive insights and soulful storytelling that explore the afterlife, some healing, grieving, and the unbreakable bond between us and those in spirit. Here, laughter and tears are both welcome. Love transcends time, and spirit meets us in the most human of ways. So if you're seeking comfort, connection, or a deeper trust in your own inner knowing, you're in the right place. So pour yourself something warm and let's begin. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. And if you are returning, welcome back. I think I just said that. Okay. So I just want to say that I'm very excited about my guest. But before I introduce her, I just want to say that I'm really happy that you're here, because today's conversation is one that is very close to my heart, because it's something that I hear almost every week in every reading, not every reading, but in a lot of my readings and in my group sessions. And people often ask me, for example, would my husband be upset if I fell in love again? Or would my wife feel replaced? Or sometimes, am I betraying them if I move forward? So these are questions that that have come into my field quite a lot. And so a friend of mine, Zena, she's a returning guest. She is from Joyous. She is a grief recovery specialist, and she does have experience in this. And I'll let her tell her story, and then I'll ask her some questions on that. So welcome, Zena. Welcome back.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
You are
Love
so
being here.
welcome.
Love being here. So my story, Josh, the love of my life, we were married, and
Mhm.
9 months after, he passed away unexpectedly. 5 months later after that, my dad passed away. So I was hit the double whammy when it came to my grieving story. And I went through a lot of heartache. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I was to do. And so anyway, I did find some help. And during my journey, my grief journey, I came across the grief recovery method, which as a student, and then I became certified. And now I am so overwhelmed by helping people, especially widows, through grief and loss, because I can relate. It's,
Mm-hmm.
it's a very scary, scary world, that all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden everything is great in your life, and your world is just shattered. And that's what I
Mm-hmm.
felt
Mm-hmm.
like. I was walking down the aisle, and then that aisle just turned into grief and sorrow.
Oh.
Yep. And
So,
dating. It's
and
it's
so
it's
that's what I
hard.
wanted to ask you is,
Yeah.
so how many years ago was that? Did you want to mention that?
Joshua will be gone nine
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 years.
years this
Okay.
October.
And do you mind sharing? Like, have you started the dating field? Like,
I
how long did it
have.
take and
I
how
have.
long?
I've done the whole, I'm ready. Oh no, I'm not. I'm ready. Oh no, I'm not. It's, you have to give yourself permission. And I think you have to give your permission in all realms of your life. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not just the intimacy, and I'm not just talking about the physical. It's the connection. It's the
Like, yeah.
putting your heart out there again.
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole permission of finding joy, wanting to be happy, because there's a lot of people, and me being one of them at the early stages of my grief, I connected my pain to the love I had for Josh.
Yeah.
So, and that's what we say. Grief is love with nowhere to go. So the harder your grief is, and the more you're feeling it, you're thinking, yes, I'm connected to him and I love him. And
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like my cross to bear for the rest of my days. But in truth, you're not living your life.
Yes.
And I think the one thing is, which through my journey, I've realized that my life with Josh and the unfortunate ending, abrupt ending,
Abrupt and yeah.
I look at it now as a soft pause, like a semicolon
Oh, I
in my
like
life,
that. I like that.
right? And now I've got the rest of the journey.
Hmm.
His death at the moment felt like a full stop, like the ending, my world crushed. And believe me, I've done a lot of work in order to get myself out of there. Some people don't. Their heart hardens. They don't want to feel joy again. They don't think they can feel joy
Hmm.
again and love again. And they're not giving themselves permission.
Hmm.
But yet I then realize, okay, soft pause. There's a whole new world out there, whatever that may be. I may never find my forever person again, and I'm okay with that. But there is the need for connection. I miss the little things, the simple texts, the holding hands, the
Yeah.
checking in, how is your day? And I think the other thing that maybe some of your listeners don't realize, there's a thing called widow's fire,
Widow's
and
fire?
it's widow's fire.
Okay.
And it's extremely prevalent after the loss of their spouse. You're craving intimacy. You're craving longing. You're a
Hmm.
woman. You're a human being. You're missing your husband's touch or your partner's touch. And again, it's the intimacy is not sex, it's the
The
companionship.
connection,
It's
companionship.
the
Yeah.
connection. Like we're all wired, we're human. We have a
Hmm.
nervous system. So some widows have gone in search of that. Not they just want the connection. They don't want the, I would say, intellectual or emotional connection, but they need to just be held. They need to just experience those things that they're missing from their loved one. So that has come up quite a bit where they're like, I love my husband. I miss him crazy. Why am I having these needs that I just want to go out for dinner or sit and cuddle with somebody, right?
Without having
And
to
that
feel guilty.
right, right, right. Helen, there's so many rules, it seems, that just crop up when your loved one passes. If you wait too long, well, what's wrong with her? Why doesn't she get back on the, you're grieving
Yeah.
too long,
Hmm.
right? We're judged. There's so much
Hmm.
judgment surrounding that. So you're trying to navigate everything else. You've gone from being a husband's, or sorry, a wife, a mother, a lover, to now being this single mom, maybe. Or for me, it was just now a single woman, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So you're navigating all these other things. So it's hard enough then to have some people judge you when you just want to find a little bit of happiness. So it is a little difficult, I
Hmm.
would say. I think you do need to work on yourself and heal your heart a little bit before you do jump in because that
Yeah.
person's not going to fix your grief. They're not.
No.
Um, there's, you want to be with that person. You don't need that person. That you don't need that person to fill the void of your
Hmm.
grief because it's never going to work. It's like taking bricks from an old relationship and an old foundation and then bringing it into the new one. The foundation
Hmm.
is going to be wobbly. And again, there's also widows out there that their love life or their relationship may not have been that great. So when their loved one does pass, they may move into a relationship sooner than
Yeah.
what is expected. And then there's that judgment again. You
Hmm.
never know someone's story. You really don't. But I did. I put myself out there. There were times where I went on a date and I just cried all the way home
No.
because it made me realize how much more I missed him.
Hmm.
It was like, this man's great and he's wonderful and he's got great qualities. And then I remember saying to myself, but Josh, he's not you. He's not you. But again, I had an amazing relationship. Like Josh, I could say was the love of my life. And
Still
we
is.
laughed, we joked. It
Yeah.
still is. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I will carry him with me forever. But that doesn't mean I won't love again. I think If you allow yourself to heal your heart, a widow's heart, if you find a widow and she falls for you, that woman has an exceptional, loving heart because she knows what life is like. She
Mhm.
knows that life can just drop at the like change within a heartbeat, and she's picked herself up and she's moving forward. So she won't take anything for granted.
And I love how you just said that, but I also want to mention, I know you keep mentioning widows, but this does apply to widowers as well.
100%,
Okay, I just want to
100%,
make that clear, right?
100%.
And there's one thing I wanted to put out there very quickly, just because I know we only have 30 minutes. So I want to get everything in there for all my listeners. Is I've also worked with parents who struggle when they see like their son-in-law or daughter-in-law begin a new relationship after losing their child.
Hmm.
Can you speak to that kind of grief as well?
Unfortunately, I can't because my situation, um, Josh's parents had passed
Yeah.
before we met,
Okay.
right?
But I mean,
Okay,
for
so
like
I
for clients, if you had clients come to
for
you,
clients,
yes.
what I've really had is I've actually have one client who's the her late husband's family
Yeah.
is like trying to set her up, like saying, you
Oh.
are such a gem.
Mm.
I want you to find somebody.
Oh.
Where there's a bit of a hiccup, Helen,
And I just
is
recently
I'm
experienced that. That's why I'm bringing this up.
okay. So, I think communication, just being honest,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
her love will never, ever, ever die,
Yeah.
so you can, if you live your life small, that doesn't mean your grief will remain small.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I just
And the
recently,
other,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
right, no, 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 go ahead.
No, because I just recently experienced that in a session where my client was like, well, how does she feel that she called him ex, but not really an ex, but how does she feel about him moving on, especially so quickly? And I said, if you had crossed over, would you want your loved ones here to be miserable and not moving on with their life? I
Hmm.
said, she has every right to move on. And as a matter of fact, just from my experience, there's no judgment there.
No,
Um, and so that opened her eyes, and for the rest of the family, she goes, I never thought of it that way. And I want to share very quickly is I've experienced that through with my father. My father lost my stepmom. They were married for 40 years, and this is a couple of years ago. And I'm going to say this, and you may agree, you may not agree. I find that most men tend to move forward quicker. That's just my experience.
I have experienced that as well. Yeah.
And my father, met someone, and he's 82 and he ended up marrying her. And
Aw,
there's noise coming, and I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm like, Dad, whatever makes you happy, because I know Gene would not want to see you sitting at home watching the
right.
news, going to
Yeah.
your lodge meetings, and that's it. Whereas his new partner, now married, his wife, God bless her, because she loves to do things. She loves to
Yes.
travel. And so this is his new companion. He'll always love my stepmom, that's a
100%.
given. But
Yep.
now, and I'm just getting goosies on this, but he's moved on, he's moved forward. And I
Forward.
know that my stepmom's cheering and like, yes, Jim, you're out there, you
Exactly.
are living. You
Yes.
still, he gave himself permission to keep living, even though
And
she's not around.
that's it. Yep.
Right.
And that is the whole perfect sentence. You have to give yourself permission
Yeah.
because they would. As you said, they're not judging you. We just put so much emphasis on like what other people think or
Yeah.
what does it
It's
look
so true.
like?
Yeah.
And it's like when we're not living our own lives and God knows how quickly it can pass, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know of someone else too. Actually, before she had passed, she actually made a list of who she wanted her husband to be with, because
Oh my God, that's amazing.
she did not want him to be alone. And you
Right.
mentioned earlier, and it never even crossed my mind to mention this in this interview, this conversation, and that is sometimes that in the relationship wasn't always rosy, right? And so the spouse that's being left behind, or the partner that's left
Hmm.
behind, they still love that person, but a part of them is already starting to move on because they
Yes.
didn't have that connection. And so this person that I know ended up marrying the person's best friend out of
Wow.
all of that because
Yeah.
they had such a strong connection, healing
Yes.
one another, communicating with one
Yes.
another. And yet the judgment around that was like, whoa, like that was heavy. They moved
Yeah.
on, of course, but still, it's just like, it's amazing how people just judge, when's the right time? You
Hmm.
should be grieving and you should not be laughing and you should not be enjoying life. Too many fingers are being pointed.
I know. But the thing is, I'm laughing. Like I would put a post. I went on vacation and I'm laughing, right? And they're like, great to see you laughing. Well, you didn't see when I went to bed. And I was just crying because I knew Josh would have
Oh,
loved the sunset. You know what
yeah.
I mean?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
there's little things, but we really have to be true to ourselves. It's our journey.
Mm-hmm.
No one knows the pain, the anger, all those other things that happen when our loved one goes, right? The challenges that we like simple things of I'm in a group and it's like, well, do you keep your ring on? Like, have
That's a
you
good
changed your ring?
question. Yeah.
Right? So I remember I switched my wedding ring over to my right hand, and as
Okay.
I handed it to the jeweler, I was sobbing. I'm like, oh my God, what's
Mm.
he gonna think? This is the ring he gave me. This is the ring, the vows we had. I'm a horrible wife. You put
Yeah.
yourself in this. And the woman's like, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
We'll take care of it. And I still wear it. It's on my, but it's what's in your heart.
It's in your, yeah. And
You
and
know,
here's the other thing too, is that when it comes to our loved ones in spirit, they're not attached to that. Like they're not attached to what you do with their ring
yeah,
or, what you do with their things. As long as you're happy, at the end of the day, that's all that matters. And people hold
yeah,
on to that. It's like, well, what would she think if I sold the ring or I gave it to someone else or I sold her whatever. And it's like
yeah.
they are so not attached to that. Now, here's a question for you that just came to me to ask you
Okay.
is, and this has
My
come
light
up.
just went out. That's crazy.
This, what's that?
My light just went out.
Ooh, Josh is visiting. He's in our session. He's liking the conversation.
Yes.
Here's the question. What about say you're on a date and you invite your date over? Pictures,
Oh, I've been there.
like an altar, like how what would you suggest around that?
It's part of your life. It's part of who you are. The person that I would be dating, when they meet me, all of my loves, all of my losses is created who I am as a woman and who
Mm-hmm.
you are wanting to be in a relationship with. And a story, I was dating somebody and put myself out there. Great guy, understood my story. I
Mm-hmm.
said, listen, this is how it is. Da, 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 da. Because first on those dating apps, right? I would never put widowed, right? Because sometimes you just get inundated with other crazy people that think you've got millions of money and they just want to take your money. Like that's another story for
Okay.
another day, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
really sweet guy. And I think maybe 3 months in, he actually did say, I kind of struggle sometimes with Josh. And I'm
Mm,
thinking, at first I was like, Josh. And I went, you mean my husband and late husband? He's like, well, yeah, like I can't believe what you went through and you're still standing and surviving. I said, well, it's been a while and I've gone
mm-hmm.
through a lot and everything like that. And I said, do I say his name too much? Do I talk about him? Because he would be talking about his ex-girlfriend, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And he goes, no, 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 it's not that. He goes, but it does feel weird when I go upstairs and I see a picture, your wedding picture, and then, but I have like my wedding photo and I also have my dad at my wedding
Okay.
photo,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And it's upstairs and it's my little spot. Um, and then again, he brought it up. He brought it up 3 times. The third time, he's like, I can't do this.
Mm,
I just can't. I'm like, okay. So again, I think it's having that communication. There's no competition, right? Like, I mean, God love him, Josh is not coming back, right? He's going to
yeah.
be a part of my heart forever.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But loving him and losing him has made him who I am today.
Yeah, yeah.
right? So yeah, sometimes it is difficult. It takes a lot for somebody to date a
Hmm.
widow or a widower. It,
So
it really does.
what about what about a dating site for widows and widowers? Would that be easier?
Oh my God, I think we got a new business.
No,
We got a new
seriously, if
business. I
because
know.
you have something in common, right? So, because I remember my uncle when my aunt had passed away, he actually met um at the time his new woman who just lost her husband in this like
Yeah.
at the same around the same time in the hospital. Here's the weird thing though. Her name was Elizabeth also. Made things a little bit easier. Just had to put that in
Crazy.
there. My uncle would love me saying that because he's in spirit now. He's like, you just say it, Helen, right? And so it was just the way they came together, like they supported each other in the hospital. They just
Oh, that's
started off
sweet.
going out for dinner, and then they just started becoming travel companions. Like it was just so beautiful. And again,
Organic.
my uncle and my aunt were together, a very long time.
Mhm.
But sadly he passed away a couple of years, actually it was during COVID. And I'm not sure if Elizabeth has moved on or not, but still, like I think that would help if you put yourself in groups with like-minded people so they know
Definitely.
where you're
Definitely
coming
will.
from,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Especially when you see the urns and the pictures and whatnot. It's like you can relate.
I think the person has to be also very confident. I mean, I went on a date a couple of times with this fellow, and it was Josh's birthday, and my girlfriend Jenny, her who we met through a grief group, her husband also has the birthday the same day. Like it was
Oh,
crazy. So
okay. That's
we
crazy.
did this little ceremony thing. I took off and then I went to the grave.
Okay.
Turned my phone off. When I came back on, it was blowing up like, "Where were you? What's going on?" Da, da, da. And I actually had said, "Oh, I was at the grave." And then the next day he said to me, "So is this going to be like an annual thing? Like, are you going to?" I was like, I don't want to answer that. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's
And he's
part
like,
of who I
well,
am.
I don't know how I don't know how I'm going to deal with that. And I'm like, well, sorry, that's a you issue. Like, it doesn't take, I'm just paying my respects. I, this is, I'm not
Hmm.
going to change that.
Yeah.
So it's difficult on both ends. I can actually see, like, I have met some people, and then, at the end of the date, it's great. And then you never hear from them again. And sometimes I wonder, is it because I'm a widow and they just
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to handle it? I don't know.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, and maybe this is for another talk for another day, is when they have children and the children wanting, not wanting them to date.
Yes, and I've experienced that as well. And again, with my father, there's, certain scenarios that came up, and especially dad, you're turning 80. Why would you want to marry again? And, there's very many different reasons. And it could be financial as well, right?
Yeah,
It's just like
yeah,
you can support each other through their pensions. There's that, right?
absolutely.
And also with I know I'm using my dad a lot and he wouldn't mind,
That's okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? And I love sharing through personal stories. It's just the
Yes,
way I roll, right? It just makes it more real because it is.
it is real.
And
Yeah.
so, that was one of the things is, I made a little joke to myself. I'm like, Gene, that's my stomach and spirit. I said, like, who knew you had another doppelganger here? Like, she's so much like you. Did you just set this up? And then, and I feel for, this is getting very personal. It's just like, how did my stepsister handle that? Because it was her mom, right?
Mm,
And I
yeah.
believe she's accepted her because, again, she's making my father happy. So there's
Yes.
that. And who are we to take that
I know.
away?
I
Who
know.
are we to take that away from someone that is, giving himself permission,
Until
right?
you are in somebody in those
Their
shoes,
shoes.
you have no idea.
Exactly.
You can't even fathom
Yeah.
all the things that the trials, the tribulations, the heaviness that we put on ourselves, the judgment we put on ourselves, and the shame. And you know what I mean? When we really are just getting up day by day, just step by step, just trying to live our life again, pick up the pieces. And then when we're ready, find some joy. So
And not
it's
worrying
just,
about the judgment of others. Not worrying
exactly.
about that's key
So
right
give
there.
yourself permission
Yeah.
to
I
live, to love,
title of the
and
show. Giving yourself
I like that.
permission. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, Zena, once again, I love having you here. Help makes a
Thank
difference.
you.
Combining what we do for a living. I still hope we do that retreat, by the way. I just wanted to plant
We
a
should
seed.
definitely, it's
I'll
going to be
plant
on the
that seed.
calendar.
Yes. We want to put together an in-person session. So those who are close to home to Canada, Ontario, Burlington, Barrie, somewhere in the Muskoka, we're looking to
Yeah.
put together a healing group, and I'm going to mention it too. I'm this close to posting. I have put together a little mini grieving course, moving through
Nice.
grief and grace with grace,
Good.
right? So it's almost ready. So for my listeners,
Good.
just know I'm putting that up because I'm a firm believer in all of this. Again, giving
Hmm.
yourself permission to move forward,
Hmm.
right? As opposed to moving on.
Yeah.
So it's giving yourself permission to move forward with your life. So,
Just that little semicolon, a little
yes, that
pause.
little, would you call it a soft pause?
Yep.
Was it I love that. I absolutely love that. We should use that in our little thing, our
Yes.
post, whatever.
Love it.
So, for my listeners, I hope today's conversation has lifted a little bit of the weight from someone's heart. Um, Love isn't something that we replace, and love is something that we carry. And our loved ones in
Hmm.
spirit, they don't ask us to stop living because they died, they passed away. They ask us to keep living because they loved us.
Yes. I love that.
And Zena, thank
Yep.
you so much for being here and just
Oh,
sharing
thanks,
your
Helen.
heart and sharing your wisdom.
Oh,
And until next time, everyone, be gentle with yourself. Thank you,
love
Zena.
it. Bye.
I want to thank you for tuning in to Afterlife Cafe TV, connecting hearts, healing souls, and bridging worlds. I'm Helen Peacock, and I am so grateful, yes, it makes my heart sing, that you chose to spend this time here with me. So, to continue the connection, I do invite you to tune in to the Transformation Talk Radio every Tuesday at 11 a.m. for new episodes. And you can also visit my website at helenpeacock.ca to find out more about my sessions, group readings, yes, even Zoom group readings, and perhaps some events I may be holding. And also, there will be a course on your psychic development, mediumship development, if you're interested in that. And just know that there are more ways to gather in our Sacred Grounds community, where you can also, again, find me at helenpeacock.ca. So, if this episode touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. It does help the space reach others who may need it too. So, until next time, trust the signs, stay curious, and remember, love never ends. It's just different.